Yamanan, you have a question now for Attorney Dean?
Actually, I believe...
Didn't you just ask that question?
No.
No, okay, go ahead. Then you're up then.
Oh. Is that mine? Yeah, that's mine.
You did.
Sorry. Ms. Dean, you've called the Second Amendment the greatest of all the amendments because without it, all of our rights are at risk. Why do you see the right to bear arms as more important to our democracy than free speech, the right to assemble, or the use of the courts to protect our rights?
Yes, that quote has been taken out of context because the first sentence before that was a Winston Churchill quote. Winston Churchill once said something like this, that courage is the greatest of all the personal virtues because without it, all the others are at risk. And that many people have said that the Second Amendment is the greatest of all the amendments in the Constitution because without it, all the others are at risk. And what I mean, and I've said very clearly, is that I will uphold the Constitution. I will uphold all of the Constitution. I will not pick and choose as my Democratic opponent has over the years. It's all important. But I simply was speaking at a Second Amendment rally at the Capitol that was honoring the Second Amendment, our founders' vision, and knowing that ultimately there has to be something to back up the voice of the people, the preferences of the people. We saw a military leader who at one point in our history tried to take control of our government. We have seen this country come, fortunately, very few times to perilously close to a direction that we don't want to move in, that our founders didn't intend. And I will uphold all of the Constitution vigorously, and I have the experience and the history behind me to back that up. I fought a First Amendment case against our current Attorney General all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I did it because our Attorney General had put into state contracts provisions that silenced the voices of opponents, political opponents, and there is no more important purpose for the First Amendment than for political free speech.
Thank you. I think it's possible to balance the legitimate needs of sportsmen and citizens who want to bear arms with the legitimate needs of society to be and feel safe. And I think Connecticut's current gun laws do a pretty good job of that. I helped write a lot on them. Things like the ban on assault weapons, guns that have only one purpose, which is to kill people. We've banned them, a nation-leading law. We have a good gun seizure law that takes guns away from people with due process protections preserved, which takes away guns from people with a tendency or who seem to be on the verge of violence. And we have strong suitability requirements that keep guns out of the hands of people with a history of violence. So none of these good gun laws, which are saving lives in Connecticut, Connecticut has one of the lowest per capita gun deaths rates of any state in the nation. None of these laws take guns away from law-abiding citizens and from huntsmen and hunters and sportsmen, but they do keep our streets safer.
Okay. You want
a brief response? I don't believe there has been a stronger anti-gun advocate in the Connecticut legislature than my Democratic opponent.